it's an interesting thing. I don't hear people use the words good and evil very much anymore. Like you saying something is evil, that was a very strong statement for me, you know? But in some ways, maybe it's an important thing for people to say, to define it, you know? Because I've only heard it defined in terms of condemning others, like who don't belong to a church or something like that.
Right, and so I think it's and this is kind of what I got interested in. The progressives have tended to do away with the notion that things are evil because they don't want to make large normative statements.
Interesting.
But the problem is
Huh.
people, conservative and reactionary people, on the other hand, have no problem at all calling everybody evil.
Right.
So in a sense, you're giving up. I think it's a word that needs to be reclaimed in such a way that it's more, it's more defined more precisely, and basically I think it's the notion of evil. I think is something that progressives need to reclaim, and like Hannah Arendt, I think is a good place to start with that. Notions of moral evil, I think are good places to start with that.
Yeah, interesting.
But also, I'm an academic, so in the end, I just find it really interesting to think about.
Right, right. Yeah. But there's also a lot of fodder for that in pop culture, too. I mean, I find pop culture endlessly interesting because there's a part of me that always wanted to be popular. No, I'm just joking. No, I find no, I find pop culture really interesting because it's kind of like I'm part of a group and we're all making this history, and I want to know what is our history? What stories are we telling each other? You know, to me, to me, I think culture. You know, I don't know. I can't really articulate it, but I do feel like that there are things that are outside of pop culture. Like I kind of feel like pop culture is a machine and it's basically hooked into economics. And there are other kinds of modes of being in the world, you know, that aren't hooked into those economic models. And sometimes they kind of leak into pop culture for a little bit. And that excites me, you know. It's kind of like what I experienced as a queer man growing up. You know, there was no real queer representation,
Wait,
except there.
you're queer?
Yeah, didn't you know? Oh my God, I'm coming out. Oh no.